Iron literature.
Ichtushti.
That's Ironlight
Ichtushti.
show.
Iron Light Show.
It just I'm not there yet.
No,
Give me
yeah.
time. Give me time.
You
Season
gotta
two.
you gotta try to love it. You gotta sleep on it.
Versus Wild. All right, that was a gorgeous little introduction. The timestamps have to be at least 10 seconds. So thanks for playing with me as we drew out this sort of obnoxious tit for tat exchange. Oh, I'm gonna
Do
start.
it. What's going on with Practice Fire, dude? What happened?
Practice Far is a good world. Wonderful people live there. Uh, Cal Reverie is a sick man. He is unwell, to say the least. Um, he has been propped up with pills for quite some time. He has been higher and drier than Tom York with a towel for quite some time, on a medication that he takes every morning to prevent his affliction, which the party knows something about at this point, from overtaking him. This affliction turns him into the Lonely, a stat block from 5e, nasty, fleshy, harpoon-armed monster of death. And Cal's been pretty good about managing it over the years. There have been a few slip-ups, but things are getting pretty tense lately, and there have been some scares in recent times. The
Don't
party.
I've forgotten about the slip ups that I wrote in, so I'm excited to see
Oh,
if slash when.
they're real.
Yeah.
The party has just arrived in Eriswile, the source of the university, this big central focal point in Nixfair, the young technological country that's starting to spread over the world. And they've gone there because, well, superficially, they have to meet with Rectress Arlen Lauder, the woman who gave them Azalea Hyde, a teammate who just got disintegrated by a beholder 2 sessions ago. But also, Claymore Patch has a secret secondary agenda the party hasn't found out about yet, and this is that his youngest sister is ill, with a disease allegedly similar to what he has. Dr. Patch has some sort of problem going on in his head, and his sister started showing symptoms. So he wrote to her, he said, "Meet me in Eriswile." And there they met. Baragon Emberclaw split from the party to walk proudly and boldly down the streets as a protected general of the Nixfair army. He agreed to help them in the war last session. The other two party members are whom this session concerns, Claymore Patch and Cal Reverie. They went together to find Clay's sisters, who are being held in a sort of secondary ramshackle infirmary.
Maddock Patch.
Maddock Patch.
Maddock Patch. The name. The name.
From the gun. Right. The gun that has 5 names left. One of them's gone. 5 names printed on it, which the gun seeks to kill and will totally destroy with a single shot. So they arrive, they see their sisters, and out of the ether, bringing 2 Volstrucker guards with him, is Erkling. Erkling is a man who works directly beneath Rectress Arlen Lauder. They've seen him several times before. He helped them out with little things. He teleports Azalea back and forth all the time. He shows up and starts slinging massive spells at the party. It's initiative. It's combat right away. They don't have time to think. The fight starts with a massive firestorm, and Cal fails the saving throw. Clay fails the saving throw. Clay's sister fails the saving throw and would have died. Lucerne, his oldest of his 2 sisters. But before she can be totally consumed by flames, Maddock Patch, this sick girl they've barely seen, she's a silhouette on a bed, rises from underneath the covers, blocks her sister's body, takes the full heat of the firestorm, and then turns around. And it's combat for them. They were joined as well by a loyal Volstrucker that they'd sort of made friends with before, Revan, the first NPC they encountered in Pragasfar, as it happens.
The old boy.
Yeah, my Mura campaign started with them meeting a guy named Raven, and now they start by meeting a guy named Revan. Funny, tiny little circles. But combat happens. It is an awesome fight. Capital A, awesome. Awesome not in the sense of good by any means, because it very quickly turns against Foreboding International. They are without their monk. They don't have DPS. They all failed a huge saving throw and are starting the fight at basically half health. The 3 guys they're fighting against can all cast Counterspell, and do. So even though they have a Volstrucker with them, they're losing in the spell economy. They're losing in practically every economy. Maddock Patch goes down, Clay's sister, and things start to look intense. And then Cal Reverie goes down from a cantrip, a firebolt by one of the Volstruckers, which critted. And things get really bad, because when Cal goes down, he begins to transform into the Lonely. His medication is no longer enough to suppress it when his conscious will isn't there holding it at bay as well. So he starts his transformation. Erkling pauses the fight for just a moment to show Patch, the only remaining person at that point. He also, I mean, the mechanics of the fight I won't get into too much. They were sweet. Patch landed a Dominate Monster on Erkling, and it looked like he was going to win the fight by controlling this massive spellcaster, but one of the Volstruckers, Dispel Magic, rolled really high, just big D20, and knocked out that 8th level spell.
Bad to worse, dude. It was amazing to see. As a DM, when everything goes awry, oh god, it's so beautiful.
So Erkling banished to a different plane their friend Revan. They have no idea where he got sent off to. He was whisked away into nothing. And Erkling confronts Claymore Patch and says, listen, your sisters are about to die. Your friend here is about to die, transform, and probably kill you as well. I'll stop all of this. We'll leave. We'll stop slinging spells at you. Give us the gun. Just the gun with 5 names on it. It's got Prince Parlous. It's got Matic Patch, Clay's sister. Clay's corner. Kanashir. It's got, Driz Do'Urden on it. So Clay goes for one last gambit. Says he has to retrieve the pistol, grabs it out of thin air, and hands it. He is using Final Fantasy, which is one of his special abilities granted to him by his whip, the duality weapon that he just got. It allows him to create things with silent image that have real form. And it's inspired because Azalea Patch was a conjuration wizard. That's an ability conjuration wizards have at 3rd level. So I thought, the bond between Azalea and Clay was of some emotional importance. And so I should bring that ability back to him. But he creates a fake gun, the exact same, except for his sister's name is replaced with his own. Erkling takes it, examines the names, and shoots him. He drops to 1 hit point. 1. Just happened that way. We rolled for damage. And plays dead. Erkling takes his guys, teleports away thinking he has the gun, even though he doesn't. Cal, as the Lonely, harpoons Claymore Patch, pulls him in, grabs both of his sisters, drags them in, and has brought together everyone else in the room. We're almost out of initiative because the fight's over. All of them are collected and being held by this scared, lonely, nightmarish, flesh-like creature that was once Cal. Patch has one more trick up his sleeve as he's making death saving throws. His Warlock ability allows him to stay conscious as he does so, but as he's making these death saving throws, he takes his scalpel and gently nicks the arm of the Lonely with glass blood. A deep callback. It was one of the first potions and one of the first poisons I gave him. Whenever a subject affected by glass blood takes poison or takes bludgeoning damage, they are stunned. Their
Patch is cunning.
Body.
He's cunning, and I don't know. He's demonstrated it again and again. He's cunning, man.
No idea what would have done that. Patch feels like a poor, desperate, but cunning's the right word, duplicitous, like dark figure who can put together really fucked up things. But he makes this notch. He slams his head back and manages to deal 1 point of bludgeoning damage. I make him make the attack roll. It was so mean. He manages to deal 1 bludgeoning damage, stun the Lonely, take his sisters, and get out of there. So Cal, transformed, unknowing what's happening, is alone, bleeding out in the top of the room. Volstruckers from throughout the city, the guards, regents of the university, come and surround the building and create operations to subdue this thing. It's a long battle, but Patch watches. He disguises selves as one of the Volstruckers and manages to, through some chicanery, and Arlo fixes voice in his head, advising him every step. The whip with the soul of Arlo Fix in it, this deceptive, clever, duplicitous rogue, is teaching him step by step how to get his sisters, how to get them into a barrel, how to distract the Volstruckers, how to get them out the door.
Bleakwood helping on the triage end too. Just the angel and the devil on each shoulder. It
was really, really cool having Arlo and so Charlie is role-playing as Arlo, I'm role-playing as Bleakwood, his Warlock patron, and both of us are just telling Houston what to do very precisely. And he's just narrating how Patch does it, like on a radio.
You know what this reminds me of? I'll tell you about this. Parlous and his consort.
Of course.
It's like he's the Nega king. It's insane.
What when Patch 1v1's Parlous and both of them like have councils behind them telling
We'll
them?
talk.
But that was pretty much the session. By the end of the session, we learned only that the Volstruckers somehow were able to subdue the Lonely together. We never saw how. Patch is in an alleyway alone. Baragon is still in the library with Rectress Arlen Lauder, a really important political figure in the campaign, who I was excited to get into this session, but that was longer than 5 minutes. I'll do a brief about the session, because there isn't terribly much, perhaps, in that dimension to get into. Max wasn't here. Baragon Emberclaw was not able to play D&D today. So I ran for Cal and Patch, where they had split off, right?
Our first session without the whole gang.
It is, and hopefully our last, but who's to say? Baragon will start off next session. The name of the session was A Revised History of the World, which is the name of the item in the Biblioplex that Baragon was like near-ish, right? That the history of the world, which when you edit the text, what actually happens in history changes as well, right? The text that dignitary Samuelson, close friend of Cal, has. And the party hasn't learned that yet. The party doesn't even know. That's a huge deal. But so I plan to orient, obviously and apparently, a lot of this session around Baragon and what happens in the Biblioplex when he's stuck there with this super politically important woman. But it just didn't end up that way. It was one of the coolest combats instead I've ever run for D&D. Absolutely. And it was the first loss for the FBI. A genuine loss. Like, they lost Revan, their only inside guy in Eriswile. Patch's one of his sisters has no left hand now. One of his sisters is part Mind Flayer. That's Matic Patch. He learns what's wrong with her. She was transforming into a Mind Flayer. Kind of a big setback, depending on your department and angle.
Medium-sized setback.
And Cal just transformed into the flesh monster he's had nightmares about for a decade and tried to kill all his friends and did end up killing a lot of people. So things aren't great for the FBI. But I was so proud of my players for this session. I mean, you guys, it was incredible how the two of you fielded everything. The stakes were at absolute highest at all times. I did not think Patch would get away with as much as he got away with.
You made him roll that headbutt at advantage. You gave him that because you guys were in close proximity. You're up close and personal already. So
good enough.
Respect.
You could say the Lonely. He had a surprise attack on the Lonely. You could say his sister was conscious within 5 feet of him. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I had to give him advantage, but he was rolling with his strength. Come on now, he's Claymore Patch.
Oh yeah, baby. The odds were bad.
At that point he had for sure a chance, but wow. I mean, to put all those pieces together. So a cool session, a dark session. I don't think the next one is likely to be lighter. But we'll field that as it comes. That's Pragisfar. The party is split 3 ways in a city that is hostile towards them. Varying
college town.
Towards them.
I mean, what college town isn't hostile, you know?
Good point. That's a campus you're on right there. You're gonna get coded or some shit.
Get out of there.
That's Pragisfar. That's all that's going on. Charlie, please, for the name of all that is totally sacred and the divine of your world of Josedias, tell me that your whole party was involved in D&D this week.
Yeah. Well, so we open, right? We open with something I forgot to mention. Sly, our Water Genasi cleric, pretending to be unconscious in the belly of the beast, uses her feat that she took, her sorcerer sort of meta magic points, to use perhaps the single most clever use of subtle spell I have ever seen.
Subtle spell.
She uses a 3rd level. Now, subtle spell. Let me explain subtle spell. Subtle spell means that you don't need the verbal or the somatic components of a spell. You can cast a spell completely undetected, incognito,
That's sexy.
invisible.
That's
She
all.
casts Sending to their giant dragon ally. She says, "Come and fight." And he's like, "Yeah, all right. Like, let's do this."
Just called one in.
Up until that point,
Phone a friend.
their comrades are hidden away in a private sanctum, one of those spells that prevents any
Private sanctum.
divination magic. They're safe. They're squirreled away in the mountains. Crust's brother, one of Kalesh the Iron-Fisted King's other sons, and Kartikeya are Warforged Wizards' sort of siblings, waiting, watching, as well as one of the king's elect, one of Kalesh Iron-Fisted King's minions that they had managed to capture, may cooperate. So she sends out this call to action, crossing her fingers that there's going to be a dragon that rips the ceiling off this place and makes a miracle happen, right? Now we circulate back over. If you'll better edit that out, Bobo, because I was trying to send this to them. You're gonna have to figure out how to get that out because he doesn't know that yet.
All right, are you ready?
Oh, we're back.
Sorry, I was screwing around with time. That's a bad idea.
we both Burnhamed it. He who must not be named. Gleason Flintheart, Dwarven Artificer, Keith Cruz, our half-elf bard, venturing down into the belly of the beast disguised as orcs, make their way into these dragon-sized caves, these seemingly random interlocking, gigantic, ancient dragon-sized caves, trying their best to find their way to the place they hope their friends are being kept. And as they go, the darker it becomes. And so Keith, very clever.
You mean literally, or did you go for a tone change?
Little bit of both.
Okay,
Keith pulls out probably the single coolest magic item that I wish I had made up, the Lantern of Revealing. Now, this lantern does not look remarkable at all. It looks like an oil lamp. You light the inside, it sheds light. The only special thing about that light is that it shows on invisible things. Okay? So they're venturing through, right? Isn't it cool? Isn't it so clever? They're venturing through, and this lantern's light reveals a giant, you could call it ancient dragon-sized runic circle. They're investigating, they're trying to figure out what the purpose of this circle is. On its face, it reminds one of them with an arcana check of a teleportation circle, but however much more infinitely complex and large. And as in the moment that they took to study it and noticed light at the other end of the tunnel, where all these caves seem to have converged in this giant runic circle, they hear an ungodly commotion coming down the other side of the cave. Orcs screaming, shouting, "For the Iron King!" like cries. Fights broken out.
Mines of Moria.
They hide, right? Mines of Moria. They hide. They wait, and emerging from this tunnel is Zechuk, the dragon giant, wielding his blade, fighting off these orcs, but he's being pushed back slowly and surely down these caves. Keith and Gleason, they're trying to stay hidden, okay? They want the element of surprise.
Me too.
But Gleason rolls a poor enough stealth check that, however cleverly or not so cleverly, Zechuk, or rather one of the Zechuks, notices him and calls him out. He says, "Hey, we need to fight. Things have escalated. I'm here to rescue you and your friends." They leap out into action. They're fighting off these orcs. Zechuk informs them that this runic circle they're standing on, beyond this circle, is where your friends are being kept and imprisoned. And all you need to do is launch a conjuration spell of any level at this runic circle, and it will open the gate. This is a pivotal moment where I was wondering if they would if they would catch on to something that I had kind of sprinkled in sessions ago. But Gleason took the bait. He launched off. I forget what kind of spell it was, some conjuration spell. The runic circle opens and drops them into a familiar gate dimension. One that was the climax of Arc 1, the Josedias, the hero of the Deep War of Josedias, first arc of this campaign, where a lot of terrible things happened. And so Zechuk, continuing to fight off these orcs are pouring into the portal, continues fighting, struggles to find words to explain. Gleason and Keith are thrown into a crisis. Their friends aren't here. Who is this person?
You just open the floodgates of hell. That's
right. And then it's a cliffhanger.
That's
the end. That's the end.
That's good.
That's the end of the session.
That's a solid one.
And it was insane. So it was sort of this beautiful coordination, right? Where there was an imposter Zechuk the Dragon Giant, and there was a real Zechuk the Dragon Giant. And one of them had been summoned to come to their aid by Sly, their infinitely clever Water Genasi cleric, to help them, save them, rescue them. And so one shows up. But is it the one they were looking for? Is it the one that has the best interests at heart? Now, a long time ago, they had noticed that there were two Zechuks, seemingly believing that they believed, both thought they were the real Zechuk.
So what was your plan if that sending didn't go off? That's crazy.
You cobble things together, dude. You cobble things together. You make it happen. You make it happen, right? So Zechuk shows up, and they are under the impression that both Zechuks think they're the real Zechuk, when in reality, there's all sorts of abjurative, anti-divinatory magic going on to keep them confused, to keep secrets, right? To maintain kept secrets. That's the crux. That's the rub. There's the rub. Truth, radical honesty, lies, white lies, dark lies. Where's the balance? Where does the party sit?
That's an awesome session. That's so much better than freaking Karthikeya just kind of dipping around your Feywild and ignoring.
Come on, dude, Karthikeya, he brought the socks, man. Of
course he did.
He did the damn thing. I was really happy with the way Karthikeya turned out. Greg, if you're seeing this, you know what? I chalk it up to I didn't come up with a concise enough way to explain what all happened in the Feywild when Karthikeya shipped out there. And I was just excited to have the gang back together. It's unorthodox D&D. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about.
I love that that implies the existence of a D&D Orthodox.
A D&D Orthodox. Dude, we've all played the D&D Orthodox.
Yeah, we've been
You know what I'm saying? Come on.
We've all gathered some gods' weapons and brought all of the divine heroes together and fought the fated villain.
Yeah, dude.
2/3 of the way through the campaign, yeah.
It's classic, it's seminal, but we can't do it because it's been done.
Not anymore. Exactly.
So as far as the behind the scenes go for this, I'm going to be totally honest with you and forgive Mac and Gabe, if you were seeing this, the respective players of Keith and Gleason. I didn't initially plan for that runic circle to be invisible, but it was so beautiful that you guys thought to light that lantern of revealing that it had to be invisible, right?
Of course.
That was such a beautiful moment.
Dude, when they you're not going to not show them something.
I had to reward you guys because you were clever. And always I underestimate you. Always I assume you guys aren't going to be able to put two and two together. And maybe I'm right sometimes, because back when the party realized there were two Zechuks running around, they approached one of them and said, hey, we're going to come up with a safe word, with a password. We're going to say this word, and you're going to be able to connect the dots, and we're going to know that you're the real one. And Zechuk was like, "Whoa, oh, okay, what's going to be the password?" And I think they discussed that it would be butterscotch. I think they brought it up jokingly, right? It was supposed to be this like it was a bit,
That's a good idea,
and
though.
so
I like that.
I was hoping that in that pivotal panicked moment where Zechuk is fending off an entire army of orcs and they're hidden, squirreled away in the belly of the beast, that it would occur to them to bring up the safe word and to trip this Zechuk up and catch him in his plan. But they fell right into the rat trap because at the end of the day, Kalash the Iron Fisted King came prepared. He's had a voice in his ear and a person in his dreams this whole time coaching him, just like Josedias, just like at the end of Arc 1.
Dude, it's
There's
fun
somebody
to
pulling the strings.
It's fun. You have to. Like,
somebody's pulling the strings, man. You know what I'm saying? And even after the session, like Mac and Gabe were both like, "Oh my God, I'm such an idiot," because I know that they realized that they could have done something that they didn't do. I don't know. They're brilliant. And it's just such an exciting moment when I am able to catch them with something because they're 5 minds versus me. They're all, one of them is able to, like, they're all so brilliant. One of them is able to come up with a way better thing than I'm ever able to come up with. And so I imagine 5 of them together thwarting me at every turn. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, and let me just dispel this language, right? It's not players versus DM, okay? We're trying to create this beautiful puzzle, this push and pull together. And more I'm coming to celebrate their victories. But you got to relish the losses, dude. That's what makes it crazy.
When it's earned.
That's what makes it wild. Exactly.
You'll feel terrible if you just like dominate your party with impossible complexities or minutia of recollection or overpowered things. But when you can play fair and just sucker punch,
when the smoking gun, when the scent of the smoking gun fills the room, and still, it falls on a nose that can't smell. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
oh my God,
it was perfect. I know that. So Gabe, who plays our Dwarven Artificer Glason Flinthorst, he's starting a campaign, and I know he's going to kick some ass. I hope that Mac, if you're listening, I'm calling you out. You better run a campaign, dude, because like you got the chops, you got the instincts for it. You proved it again and again. You got to at least try, man. Like a 1-shot, 2-shot, 3-shot, whatever. We didn't do Teen Dragons. You got to do Teen Dragons with somebody, whether it's with us or with somebody else.
Come down in the muck with the rest of us. It's great,
dude.
Everything
it's great
works.
Here.
Everything works as a DM.
Everything works. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Tyler and Sly Honorlock, the Water Genasi cleric, who made such a beautiful use of the subtle spell. And stay tuned for the next inciting, climactic, and tiny little circle of an installment of the Josedias campaign. Let's open it up.
These were awesome sessions.
These were like great. These were really good sessions.
Through and through.
These are like, we're building like Mom Spaghetti 8 Mile. We're almost there. This is climax stuff. Life and death. Good and evil.
I was feeling it until the spaghetti thing.
I got a question for you, Bobo. Urkling, to me, we've had this conversation. I've brought it up during Ironlight before. You try not to describe a place to death, right? You try and leave it up to interpretation, but I can't help but ask you, what does Urkling look like in your mind?
He's super tall. He's a bulky guy. He's bald. Yeah. He's got like a huge.
I was just wondering.
He goes around everywhere. I described him at some point like dummy.
Right. No, I was just wondering if you had like a visual. I'm picturing like this scar, like this. Yeah, like the image I have for Urkling in my mind, gripping, terrifying.
He's ugly.
He looks a little bit like. The Punisher, not the Punisher. I'm trying to paint a picture. Spider-Man, Multiverse, the animated one, Miles Morales, the big chunky.
Yeah. Stop it. I got it. Not the Penguin, but the. Oh my God, Jack Richards, if you're watching
I
right now,
know.
stop screaming at your camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Kingpin.
Kingpin, dude. So Kingpin, but with a neck, like this mountain man who's somehow like comically larger than everybody else in the world, but is somehow supposed to still be human, and everybody just sort of accepts it.
Mm-hmm.
Just these terrifying mountain of a man who's also like a genius. I don't
Totally.
know. I've been
I wanted him
thinking
to stand
about,
out from the Academy folk, you know? You've
yeah,
got all these emaciated, like, battle-clad wizard kids running around, and then there's just this fucking hulking dude with bongo spells.
bongo spells.
Bongo. Bad bongo.
Um, yeah, I've been thinking about Urkling ever since he let all those hook horrors out into the countryside.
That was a cool cutscene.
What's going on with that, dude? That's
He
not
wants the
very
gun
nice
now.
of
He
him.
wants the gun now.
What's going on with this gun? The gun, man.
He blows
It's-
up, and if you'll recall, tiny detail, the hook horrors were trapped in a dungeon that the party had to escape from ages ago. Urkling teleports, blasts the door open, lets them loose, and says, like, good luck, Parlous, right? He's like, Parlous is gonna be fucked. He's gonna need everything he can get. Teleports away. And now he's going for the gun that's got the guy's name on it. It's just... I'm super excited for all the pieces to come together, because I think they will satisfactorily.
Yeah, no, I'm the more you talk about Cal, Reeves showing up way
Bad
before
timing.
schedule.
Bad
I don't
timing.
know. I don't know if you guys had mentioned this, but Cal had recruited the whole team because Reeves was going to pop up in however many days eventually. He was telling them, "You fight this guy.
When it's your time
You
of the
fight
month.
this nightmare, and you take care of him, so I don't have to keep doing this. I don't have to keep fighting this fight, constantly looking over my shoulder, right?" Yeah, but Reeves has been coming around ever since Cal was small. It's been a number of decades that Cal has just been kind of looking over his shoulder, and all of his worst nightmares came true. Pun intended.
No, it
This
is.
last
And
session.
it's not gonna get better right away.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
We're in for
I'm
a
gonna-
smash for sure. We may need some content warnings slapped on the next one.
I don't know, dude. I think you know what? I've been thinking about that lately. I was thinking about that today. Should we slap some content warnings on this next session?
That's a good question. For the game in general, it seems like a really good idea, right?
I think I agree. I think the emotional value of whatever's going to happen next being completely spontaneous, unawares, is going to be is it worth the risk of maybe triggering somebody? I don't know. Max and Houston both. You know Houston and Max better than I do, but I think Max, I know he was like, dude, like no holds barred. Let's do the damn thing.
He definitely was.
So,
if I had a concern, it would be for Houston, who I know. I mean, I'm not really worried. Is the thing.
right.
It's a question of principle at this point.
Right. No. Yeah, it's a principle thing. I don't know. It's your party. It's your, you cry if you want to, but
we'll find out when the
if it were me, part of me is like, we gotta let it rock. I gotta see the look in their faces. I gotta see the look in their faces.
So fucked up.
I don't know, man.
You're literally like, man, I write ruin porn every time and I can't stop. And then we're going through it. We're doing it. We're taking it from the top, baby. Doesn't get better than this. Oh, no. So that'll be sweet. I am so stoked imagining your whole party playing D&D together again, though, Charlie. Like, you spend so much time split and divided and solo and trapped in bellies and trapped in foreign planes and...
I really... I say this all the time, right? We're coming up on the end, and it's got to be an end. It's got to be an end worth all the sweat and tears. The payoff's got to be huge. It's a really scary thing to imagine not going the way that I hope it will. But that's D&D, man.
It is, of course. And your
Orthodox
clearly is up there when you had 2 Mist Titans and a big juke out. That was sweet. That's really good stuff.
Orthodox D&D, man, is you get the payoff, but it doesn't land quite as hard because it's orthodox.
Have we ever gotten the payoff? Mura, I guess, is the only thing I would call in our shared group experience orthodox D&D.
Dude, I don't even. I would say that Mura was my first taste of unorthodox D&D.
Ooh,
And here's
messy,
why, right?
Messy.
Here's why, right? I still think about when you and I were still sort of nervous around each other. You like sat in my room in Corner House. We did Salik's Vision Quest.
That was awesome.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was so weird. That was so crazy. So weird. So wild. That was unorthodox to me. When Salik, what's his name? What's his name? The main character of Houston's video game, of Mura. Do you remember? Gilgamesh. He stopped in his tracks. He said, "Oh my God, one of the chosen is still alive. You're gonna have to make a choice. If you want to make this all go away, one of you is gonna have to die."
Who gets the wish?
Who gets the wish? And Salik had to make a choice. He had to come back. He had to deliver the message. Meanwhile, oh my God, what was Jim's character's name? Jizo was demigodding it up.
Final fight.
The boss fight of a lifetime.
We don't have to wax.
We never come up on a boss fight. We won't.
But
it was unorthodox. Okay. It was unorthodox. I don't know, man. Mura was our foundation. Mura was mine. So
definitely. I mean,
I think a lot about
D&D in a lot of ways.
Oh my God. Jack Richards, the news. He's up there at Wayne State, right? Wayne State?
Yeah.
Running a campaign for the med students.
Not news to me. I mean, this was public.
All right, chill.
Put that out there.
I don't hear from Jaricha as much as I would like.
I'm not gonna cameo in his game at some point.
Whatever, dude. Korik showed up, man. You could say that I cameoed. Whatever.
You genuinely no, like your character. That's great stuff. Korik has yet to make a cameo appearance in Pragasfar. I've failed you.
Oh no, dude! You can't because I'm in Pragasfar.
I know.
Charlie
isn't it wrong? Isn't it?
You can't do it. Everybody else has to show up. Korik is.
I think everyone else has.
Korik is yours and Korik is mine. But Korik will never be ours. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. It's like
Charlie. It's just a podcast dog.
I don't know, man.
You might be right.
Big Bendra, if you're watching this, shout out to
in a minute, but why did I just do the sign of
the shout out to Targonra.
What was the Mura? Peace, man.
Yeah. Well. Huge. Shout out to Targonra. Shout out to
Targonra. We wouldn't be here. Targonra's a real one.
Yeah. Shout out to you and Targonra for creating the space. Yeah. For building on the foundation, man. Yeah, Josedias would not be the same.
Clearly, wouldn't be.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot, Jojo. What questions do you have about Josedias? I know last session you were like, dude, we just talked so much about Pragasfar. And if you let me, we'll talk about Pragasfar the whole half hour, dude.
We cannot. We had better not.
We cannot.
About Josedias, it doesn't seem to me like your world building has nearly as much influence over your game as like your session to session planning does. Is that true? I mean,
I'm trying to. I was clinging to this notion for so long, Jojo, that I was going to be able to tie up all the loose ends, and you were the first one to tell me it's impossible. Like the list is going to get longer and longer.
Just keep the good ones.
And right, you keep the good ones. You take the best. You leave the rest. At a certain point, I'm going to have to tell the group. I'm going to be like, "Hey, I was trying to tie everything up, but I couldn't because you guys are quicker than me. You know, this world grew faster than I could because there's 6 of us, not just
the IRL action economy."
And so that is beautifully freeing for me because I can make something happen. You know, I can change gears. They're always going to throw a curveball, and it's always going to be exciting. And I'm always going to be able to build a new session in what I imagine are like parallel universes that are all real, but which will the brains and bots find themselves in? Shout out the brains and bots. Which one will the brains and bots find themselves in next session? It's for me to decide. It's an incredible responsibility. I'm waxing poetic.
Of course,
I just
are.
I love it, dude. I love it, dude.
It's a beautiful thing. So, too bad.
I tell you what, and I was thinking about this. I appreciate you being flexible on somatic verbal components, right? Because my party, we're on it. We're like, okay, what? Of
course you are. You got Greg, dude.
Material components. We got a rules group. We got a rules lawyer, man. And that's what it's all about. Structure. It's an important thing to have. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Greg if you're watching this.
Only Sith dealing absolutes, Charlie.
Shout out Greg if you're watching this. Couldn't do it without you.
You can't shout out Greg twice in this. I'm gonna edit this out.
Well, oh my god, what was I saying?
Something about rules, man. I wasn't listening, so it must have been about rules.
But I was thinking about the moment where you could have been like, okay, well, if you're Dr. Patch, if you're trying to pull that gun out and pass it off as the real thing, you're gonna have to make some checks here.
Roll an Arcana check.
You let it happen
versus his investigation. Super.
Oh
easy.
no, you did have him do that. You did have him do that. That was good.
You think?
But you didn't get into the nitty gritty. You weren't like, okay.
Erkling would recognize the spell.
Yeah.
He's an
silent
17th level wizard.
I learned last session, there is a concrete rule to identify a spell and its level, like a high enough Arcana check to roll.
Yep, that's true. For counterspell.
So you could have done that, but you put your own spin on it. You took the structure, you tweaked it a little bit. It was cool. I liked it a lot.
I do Lucy.
And that was like such a cool moment when Erkin turned the gun around. He was like, the gun must fulfill its destiny.
Why does he have that voice all of a sudden? No, you're right. And if Patch hadn't done that, if he'd given up the real gun, his sister would have just gotten blasted right in front of him. That was a fist pumpy moment for sure.
Oh my god, dude. What if he hadn't pointed the gun at Matic, but instead at Patch, the real gun? Would it have like ricocheted around and hit Matic? Dude, I don't know.
That sounds a little bit like the Patriot Arrow from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, wanted Angelina Jolie. Yeah.
I probably couldn't have done that. That might have been too corny for me.
Dude, I just think about when Patch had the gun pointed at Drizzt, and then it's just like, like up his arm.
Up his arm, it goes, yeah.
Like, that's scary shit. That's like some Lustrialtis Arkansas technology that a fantasy world shouldn't have type shit.
It's not there.
I'm excited for the Josedias folks to get to this town called Cavalcade that they've heard a lot about. Because it's like the big genre bender of the campaign. And I won't say how, because I want you guys to see this. But hopefully we get you down to Cavalcade. There's some stuff going on down there with Birch, with some people that you guys know, with Harris Birch.
This brought to you by the Cavalcade Tourism Board.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got Birch. Land of the Silver Birch.
Yeah. If you guys see this, tumbleweeds. It's the only hint I'm going to give you. Tumbleweeds. It's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff. The world is big and it's small, and I'm just trying to make it the perfect size for the 5 of you. We're not going to be able to play this weekend because schedules are getting crazy. Probably for the best, because I'm moving, I think, maybe as soon as Thursday to the city, Ann Arbor. I'm coming at you.
Boy.
But yeah, Josedias is going to continue to be crazy. I don't know if I've made this clear, but I'm retroactively delivering on a lot of sessions right now. Like the summaries I've been given the Ironlight show up to this point, they're like 6-7 sessions ago. We're harkening back to like July. Yeah, seriously, dude. Seriously. They're so far ahead at this point, dude. They're trucking.
We need to just do a W episode one of these days. It's not fair that I should get to be contemporary. You'll never catch up if we do it once a week. You'll never catch up.
It'll catch up when it catches up, man.
Which is never in this arrangement.
I think probably what will happen is Practice Fire will end. Your next thing will start. Our next thing will start, and we'll continue. You know what I'm saying? Well, actually, that's a good question. Does Ironlight end with Practice Fire?
Ironlight might end, but I somehow doubt that Iron Light is going to end.
The Ironlight show? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know, Josh. What do you think? Have you had any idea about what the next thing is going to be?
I don't think I'll be DMing it. It's player time, man. It's
player time.
Yeah, I gotta throw the mantle around. I'm not trying to tell my stories.
I've got the itch, dude. I don't relate. It's my time to tell the stories. I feel it in my bones.
Good enough.
I don't know. You've done a lot of storytelling. I can see that. I can see that much is true for you.
I've got a lot left to tell, but I prefer to listen than to speak.
Player time. It's player time. I'm sad. I'm excited. I hope I'm a part of it, even if I'm not. The light show.
This was us. That's pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah. It is.
Any closing remarks? Any denouement wisdoms we have to leave the populace with? I think we've cracked an hour at this point.
Guys, I am still working up the courage as we speak to get this out to the brains of bots. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so nervous. I really want to share this with you guys. And I trust you. But you know, we're like playing at being content creators. You know? It feels weird.
It's fun. It's just whatever, you know. No stakes.
What about you, Jordan?
In closing remarks for this session, speaking broadly about my players in this game. I mean, we have a great secondary, tertiary D&D community of people we know but don't play with, you know, from Pragasvar, from Mura, from Targonra, from wherever. So I look forward to watching them mix and match in weird ways, you know. Maybe some of your players find their way into a game that I'm in or something. I don't pretend to know. Just
you're so much more comfortable with endings than I am, JoJo. I'm trying to be like you in that respect. I'm trying to meet these endings and love them. But it's hard. It's hard, you know? A change. Change is scary, man.
Change is scary. Don't change out there, folks.
Yeah.
This is the Iron Light Show.
All right. Love you guys. Bye.